Right now, on to the point. From airports to hospitals, a tech outage causing disruptions worldwide. Tonight, a closer look at the impacts. Plus, as hundreds of public housing units sit vacant, Sacramento officials want answers.
I'd like to get a briefing on what the details of those concerns are.
A major heat up on the way, the timing, and how high temperatures could reach.
And later on the back roads, we head to Sonoma County to explore a wooden fortress built in the 1800s. We start tonight with this sweeping wave of cyber outages across the globe. Thank you so much for joining us on To the Point. I'm Alex Bell. We know that travel, banks, businesses, emergency services, and even some hospitals were disrupted this morning after a global technology outage caused by a faulty software update. At the heart of the issues was the company CrowdStrike. They're a cybersecurity firm that provides software to thousands of companies worldwide. The CEO today apologized for the chaos and promised to get the systems back online. One of the hardest hit was travel. Long lines forming at airports around the world as thousands of flights were grounded, leaving passengers stranded. Airlines are slowly coming back online, but it is expected to take time before they are back up and fully operational. ABC 10's Devin Truby joins us live from SMF tonight. And Devin, things are not running smoothly just yet, right?
Well, you know, Alex, the long lines have finally dissipated for the first time today. Earlier today, we would have seen lines outside, people trying to check their bags because their app isn't working, or inside at ticketing and check-in, getting those delays rebooked. But we're finally starting to see just a little bit of a reprieve here at Terminal A, where most of the impacted airlines are. That's United, American, and Delta. Now, earlier today, we spoke with individuals that basically turned Terminal A into a makeshift hotel. People here for 20 hours. We spoke with a group that may end up having to cancel their mission trip after being stranded here. And then the lines at the gates were about 45 minutes to change flights and about the same wait time down at ticketing and check-in as well. Others waited even more to speak to their airlines directly.
We boarded the plane last night, and we were on the plane for about 3 hours. And then we were instructed to deboard the plane, and we were waiting in the terminal.
Trying to do it through the app, and it's a 129-minute wait to chat with an agent.
All impacted airlines have issued travel waivers allowing folks to change their flights at no cost as long as you fly within a certain time frame and follow their other parameters. But American and United don't have SMF Airport listed on their impacted airport list, but they were still rebooking delayed people here today. So the biggest advice we can offer right now, Alex, is to check with your airline before you come to the airport. Now, not just in the app, but actually online with their updated flight tracker information, and to really read the fine print of that travel waiver. There's a lot of nuances in there. For example, Delta not allowing unaccompanied minors to fly until Sunday. Reporting live at SMF, Devin Truby, ABC 10. Alex.
All right, Devin, thank you so much. And we are continuing to monitor the impacts of the global outage. You can get updates sent straight to your phone with our free ABC 10 app. In other news tonight, authorities are working to sample and test the water in Lake Tahoe after a sewage leak. The North Tahoe Public Utility District says a contractor working in Carnelian Bay hit the district's main sewer export pipeline. The Placer County Sheriff's Office says sewage from the pipeline overflowed into the parking lot and reached the lake. Crews were able to repair it, and right now the utility district says there is no risk to the public drinking water system. Nearly 20,000 people in San Joaquin County haven't had an ambulance dedicated to their area for 48 hours. The Ripon Fire District says due to staffing issues, they haven't been able to have their ambulances active in the community since Wednesday morning. They are hoping that by Saturday morning, they'll get a fifth staff member, which would allow them to resume ambulance services. Until then, residents can expect slower response times.
Our ambulance will be coming from either the city of Manteca as the closest for Manteca District Ambulance, or AMR coming out of as far as Stockton. So we'll see an increase of response times for that ambulance, additional probably 5 to 10 minutes, unfortunately.
There is an election underway until August 8th for Proposition 218. It would increase taxes on homes and apartments in the area to hire more staff. The increase in staffing would allow the district to reopen a firehouse that is currently vacant. And Sacramento's public housing agency is under the microscope as hundreds of much needed public housing units sit vacant. Some have been empty for years, despite a waiting list of thousands of families long. Now, Sacramento City Council and the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, they want answers. ABC 10's Becca Hobegger brings us the latest.
The Sacramento Housing and Redevelopment Agency, SHRA, is the public housing authority for the city and county of Sacramento. It connects low-income families with subsidized housing through money from the federal government.
It's come to my concern that the Federal Housing and Urban Development Agency has brought up some audits or concerns of the agency, and I'd like to get a briefing on what the details of those concerns are.
Sacramento City Council member Eric Guerra asked SHRA at a recent council meeting for more information on copies of letters he and ABC 10 received. They were sent to SHRA from the San Francisco Office of Public Housing, which oversees SHRA as the regional hub of HUD, the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development.
I would like information on that too.
Okay.
Other council members echoed his concerns. HUD's August 2023 letter states it has significant concerns regarding the number of SHRA's vacant public housing units, adding HUD has been communicating with your agency since before the COVID-19 pandemic regarding this issue. At the time, the document shows SHRA had nearly 200 units that had been vacant for more than 2 months, 86 of which had been vacant for more than a year. HUD asks public housing agencies nationwide to maintain an occupancy rate of at least 96%. As of August 2023, only 85% of units in the county were occupied and 91% within Sacramento city limits. We should note here, HUD tells us SHRA's overall occupancy rate today is at 90%. HUD asked SHRA to submit a corrective action plan for getting more families into public housing units and increasing occupancy rates. But issues persisted. In a May 2024 letter, HUD informed SHRA it will be conducting an on-site and remote comprehensive monitoring review in June. In a statement to ABC 10, HUD said SHRA has a plan in process to get both the SHRA city and county to 96% occupancy by the end of the year and is giving HUD monthly status updates. In an email, SHRA tells ABC 10 the pandemic created significant challenges in the housing authority's ability to turn over vacant units for occupancy. Staff shortages, health and safety issues, supply chain delays, and costly repairs and maintenance of aging housing and infrastructure in our housing portfolio also contributed to delays in leasing up vacant units. Becca Hobegger, ABC 10.
And SHRA is not alone in this issue. HUD says many public housing agencies face challenges with staffing, maintenance, and lingering effects of the pandemic on their operations. All right, coming up onto the point, thousands of dollars meant to pay surrogates gone missing. Now the accused business partner appears in court. We're breaking down the latest in the case.
Hot temperatures is an understatement for some areas. We saw temperatures pushing 106 to 107 further north. More heat on the way, how hot it's expected to get into next week.
And later on the back roads, exploring the history behind the wooden fortress in Sonoma County. All right, we're tracking some wildfires burning right now, so we want to take a look at some of those. First, in San Joaquin County, crews are monitoring the Liberty Fire. It's burning near East Liberty Road and North Macville Road. It has currently burned more than 100 acres and is 10% contained. The fire chief says 3 residential structures have been lost and several other buildings damaged. And in Placer County, crews are monitoring the Lehigh fire burning in the Newcastle area. CAL FIRE says it's at 9 acres and 1 structure has been involved. The sheriff's office has ordered evacuations for the winter snow and summer star areas. So take note of that. And we are also tracking the Weimar fire in Placer County. It's burning along Canyon Way along I-80 at Weimar Cross. CAL FIRE says 2 structures have been threatened. Evacuation orders are in place north of I-80, including Heavenly View and Oak Ridge. So make sure you are paying attention, of course, online and on air here. I want to get things over to meteorologist Carly Gomez. Take a look at our weather tonight.
Yeah, the location of those fires you just mentioned happen to be far away still from the thunderstorms that are occurring near Yosemite. So We're not sure exactly what happened or how those started, but I can say that there has not been any thunderstorm activity in that area or lightning strikes. And the 24-hour temperature change, you are looking at anywhere from 3 to 6 degrees warmer than we were yesterday at this hour in the valley, with 7-degree temperatures warmer there in Fairfield, 2 to 5 degrees warmer in the foothills. Now, our big weather impact days are going to be next week, with extreme heat expected beginning on Monday. Cooler for us on Sunday, so really enjoy Sunday and take advantage. 95 degrees will be right around the temperature, and that's actually the average temperature this time of year. 100 to 108 degrees is possible next week, Monday through Thursday. Now, severe thunderstorm chances are also going to be possible next week, as we're still dealing with some unstable weather conditions, and we've been tracking them through the evening hours here as you see them near the Yosemite area, really popping up from Mammoth Lakes all the way up through Yosemite and then shifting their way toward Nevada. Now, everything further north of that has been avoiding any sort of thunderstorm pop-ups or activity. Right now, though, we are tracking coastal flood advisory that has now been issued for tonight. That's 9 p.m. around areas from the bay, as we are seeing here until 2 a.m. on Tuesday, potential for rising waters, and a full moon is on the way. So we're also seeing that tide kind of rising up with that as well. As we look here with the excessive heat warning in effect for areas of the Central Valley toward the Grapevine, nothing's been issued for the Sacramento area just yet for next week. We'll be looking at heat risk moderate tomorrow to minor on Sunday, then moderate to major heat risk starting on Monday, lasting at least through Wednesday and Thursday. Looking at our temperatures this weekend, pretty good, but we start heating up Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday in those triple digits with low 90s that following weekend.
Next, on To the Point, a business partner accused of stealing money meant to pay surrogates appears in court. What we're learning tonight about the case. Plus, in Your Voice, Your Vote, Trump officially accepting the GOP nomination in a historically long speech, and more calls for President Biden to pass the torch, the response from his campaign. Welcome back. Tonight, ABC 10 is learning new information regarding a Texas-based surrogacy escrow firm that's under investigation for mismanaging funds. Last week, we told you about a Fair Oaks couple that put nearly $50,000 into an escrow account only to have it vanish. ABC 10's Jeannie Nguyen has been following this story and joins us to explain what happened in court this week. Jeannie.
Alex, that court hearing shines some light on how that money was spent, with the business owner being accused of living a life of luxury. And for the first time, we're hearing from the business owner's partner and how he claims he's innocent. For the first time,
I've already said everything in the courtroom.
we're hearing from Anthony Hall. He's a business partner to Dominique Side, owner of Surrogacy Escrow Account Management, also known as SEAM, based in Houston, Texas.
She told me that there was some issues with some of the funds, and for me, doing the right thing was making sure that she owned and was accountable.
SEAM has been under investigation by the FBI, accused of mismanaging millions of dollars meant for parents to pay their surrogates. Last week, ABC 10 introduced you to the Ketmans. They're expecting a boy in October and do not have access to the $45,000 they put into their SEAM account to pay their surrogate.
Now trying to figure out month to month of trying to pay her and what we're going to do when the hospital bills come. It's scary.
The Ketmans are one of many couples who have lost thousands. Houston-based attorney Marianne Roback is now representing 24 additional families, totaling more than $1 million in their own losses. But she believes there's much more. Her team has been able to narrow down how some of that money was spent.
$4.9 million that have been used to pay for credit card bills of a company owned by Dominique Side and her business partner, Anthony Hall. That business is called Vegan Based Studios, which is a music studio here in Houston that is promoted for R&B and I guess rap music here in Houston.
During this week's court hearing, a judge granted a temporary injunction.
Whatever assets we've been able to track thus far are now frozen through trial.
Side did not appear in court, but Hall did provide ABC 10 with a statement that says, in part, it was not a front for illegal activity. He says he had no insight or access to any of the funds or process of SEAM, and no money had been transferred to him fraudulently. Now, Dominique Side continues to say she is not permitted to talk about this as this investigation continues. And to see Anthony Hall's full statement, head over to our website at abc10.com, Alex.
All right, Jeannie, thank you so much. We appreciate it. Turning now to Your Voice, Your Vote. The Republican National Convention has officially wrapped up with former President Donald Trump accepting his third Republican presidential nomination in a 92-minute long speech. In the days after an assassin attempted to take his life, Trump said he ripped up his speech, prepared, and he wanted to write a new one that would unite the country and not reference his rival, President Joe Biden, by name. He then went off script.
If you took the 10 worst presidents in the history of the United States, think of it, the 10 worst, added them up, they will not have done the damage that Biden has done.
Trump did not share many details on what another term would look like, but did make promises to end inflation, secure the border, and roll back Biden administration efforts to combat climate change. And as for Biden, ABC News reports that sources say the president is now more receptive to hearing concerns about his candidacy and whether he can defeat Trump in November. Right now, the president is recovering from COVID in his Delaware home. Dozens of congressional Democrats are urging him to step aside, including Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, and former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, who have all shared concerns that Biden staying in the race could drag down Democrats in the House and Senate. And now a new grassroots organization called Pass the Torch has released TV ads with the same message. Despite this, his campaign continuing on the trail.
You have heard from the president directly time and again. He is in this race to win, and he is our nominee, and he's going to be our president for a second term.
Biden released a statement today saying he plans to get back on the campaign trail next week. Every Friday, John Bartel takes us on the back roads. Tonight, we are headed to a fortress that was built on the Sonoma coast.
It was here in 1812 on this quiet coastal bluff in Sonoma County that Native American tribes watched as land-grabbing explorers built a mighty fortress equipped with cannons.
Both the Russians and the Spanish were at the ends of their empire, and the Spanish actually considered this their territory.
The wooden fortress became known as Fort Ross. Today, it's a state park, but in the early 1800s, it was a Russian settlement, and the Russians saw it as a boundary line between them and the encroaching Spanish Empire. The land in this region has two valuable resources: fertile land and fur.
The sea otter was the most valuable. One pelt was worth up to $100 back then. That was like a year's salary for a farmer.
Interpreter Hank Birnbaum says the Russian fur trade was big business, and Alaska was one of their primary hunting grounds. But due to the difficulty of growing food and getting supplies in the area, they expanded their territory to Northern California, and they didn't go alone.
And I'd like to give special attention to the Alaskans. Often there were more Alaskans here, Alaska natives, than there were Russians.
While in Alaska, the Russians enslaved indigenous Alaskan hunters and brought them here to Fort Ross.
This wouldn't have been successful, this whole adventure, if it wasn't for the Alaskan natives. You could imagine them in their kamlaika. This would be made out of sea lion guts.
The Alaskan hunters weren't the only natives living at Fort Ross. Shortly after their arrival, the Russians came to an agreement with the local Kashaya tribe to live on their land and employ the Kashaya as laborers.
It's a very diverse community.
Absolutely, yeah. And then here, there was a lot of intermarriage with the Kashaya and Coast Miwok.
In all, a few hundred people lived in or around the fort. Along with hunting, the people here built large ships. They built homes, and although there was never a permanent priest, Russian Orthodox Christians built an ornate wooden chapel with enchanting acoustics.
Gospodи pomili, Gospodi pomili, Gospodi pomili. Hear how it fills the room, yes? And the cupola was designed, they say, to help send the prayers or the songs to heaven.
Even though the Spanish and Russian empires were in a race to claim California, there was never actually an attack or an attempt to breach the giant walls of Fort Ross.
You know, in terms of the Spanish and Russians, they need each other more than they need to fight each other.
Instead of fighting, the Spanish, the Russians, and the Native Americans found it easier to trade goods and services with each other. And this coexistence lasted for around 30 years, until there was no more otters to hunt for fur.
Sadly, now the otters are gone. Hopefully, if we give Mother Nature a hand, maybe the otters could come back and it would help stabilize the ecology here.
Fort Ross was never forgotten. After Russian fur hunters left, settlers moved into California during the gold rush. Today, though, State Parks uses Fort Ross to teach lessons from the past and educate people about future preservation.
That dual purposes, right? Both of enjoy, recreate, so forth, but also to learn from and to bring balance and health.
From Fort Ross State Historic Park, I'm John Bartell. Hope to see you on the back roads.
Before we go, I want to get back to some of those wildfires that we were tracking. Crews are monitoring the Lehigh fire burning in the New Castle area of Placer County. The sheriff's office has ordered evacuations for the winter snow and summer star areas. We are also tracking the Weimar fire in Placer County. It's burning along I-80 at Weimar Cross. Evacuation orders are in place. Make sure you stay with ABC 10 for updates. Have a great night and a great weekend. Hey, it's Alex. I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching. The To The Point team and I love hearing from you, and I hope that you'll stay in touch. And don't forget, you can always email me and the team at tothepoint@abc10.com, or you can even send us a text message at 916-321-3310.